searching as Chrome constituency that I realized that it was this Dr. Marfo that I had read about. Mr. Speaker, when he came to Parliament, he was placed on these other committees, including the Land and Forestry. And then he did other things like environment. And Dr. Marfo never played with his work. In Parliament, he had other things that he had to do. At the Ashanti caucus, I happened to be the chair of the caucus of the 8th Parliament and the 7th Parliament, because Dr. Marfo needed to place him at the Rifle Committee. I will urge every member of this House, those who have come anew and those who are here, almost everybody in this House is a professional, one way or the other. And I encourage everybody to continue to practice his or her profession. Mr. Speaker, there are various committees, standing committees and select committees. And obviously, especially the first time that, Mr. Speaker, we can be sure that this House would be taken to a greater height. To look through everyone where the person can practice most, and then we can place the person in order that Parliament of Ghana would be taken to a higher level. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Sam George.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I rise to contribute to the statement ably made by the Minority Chief Whip and MP for Ntawama Ojiri, the Honorable Anodom Pre, and states that as a technocrat myself, I'm proud of my fellow technocrat, Dr. Marfo, who I had the opportunity to serve. Dr. Marfo was a fantastic parliamentarian and committed himself to the work that he did in his committees. And so it comes as no surprise, he made an environment assignment. Mr. Speaker, I believe that as a country, we need to pay more attention to the challenges and difficulties. As a developing country, Ghana is one of the smallest contributors to greenhouse emissions and pollution of the ozone and of the effect of climate change, with predictability of the weather. Honorable Ayimedu may send out by members of the academia documents sitting on the shelves of many of us as a country we need to get to, with a focus on agri-business and agriculture, would begin to give more impetus to things like this so that we can use the research to resource the agencies that need to be resourced because they're not seen as attractive enough. But those are the things that will give us economic stability when we have food security. And so, once again, I want to commend the maker of the statement because, like Honorable Ayimedu said, most times we hear of tributes in this House only after the person is dead. In fact, it's the norm in this House. We need to begin to celebrate our own and celebrate and recognize people for their contribution to national and international development. And so, once again, I echo to technocrat Dr. Marfo. Thank you.
Honorable former Deputy Minister for Education.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, on the statement ably made that paid a glowing tribute to another respected colleague of ours in the 7th and 8th Parliament, the Honorable Dr. Emmanuel Marfo, on his contribution to environmental sustainability and climate change. And I wish to join him, together with other colleagues who have spoken before I rose, to congratulate Dr. Marfo on his well-deserved appointment as the new Director for Climate Parliament for the West and Central Africa. We have every confidence in his ability to succeed. We wish him Godspeed. I've had the opportunity to serve in the 7th and 8th Parliament on a number of committees with Honorable Dr. Emmanuel Marfo, and in particular served with him on the climate, and the depth of his expertise in climate change, energy transition, and matters of sustainability is remarkable, and even most admirable in financing sees climate change as one that is of climate change like we had in to that occasion. But considering the wide range of effects of climate change, from biodiversity loss to extreme temperatures, it is important that we champion to raise champions who are going to be in our schools. Because, Mr. Speaker, whenever there's climate-induced disruptions occur, many children will have to stay out of school for days, if not for weeks or months. And therefore, the effects and the contribution that even the younger generation, early stages, they become familiar and young on this feat. I thank you.
Honorable Dr. Sandari.
Thank you to the statement ably made, a tribute, to Honorable Dr. Emmanuel Marfo, a former colleague of ours. Mr. Speaker, I also congratulate him, the Climate Parliament Ghana chapter, and he was our chairman. And of course, I'm also a product or an alumni of Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. And therefore, we are yes, are proud of him.
How can you get a good?
Because, he's demonstrating that it's a product
After you fail to enter Lagos,
of that university. Mr. Speaker, we wish him well, and we hope that he will continue to contribute, to solving the problems, all sectors of life. We know complexity of infectious diseases. Many of the pandemics we witness, flooding that affects women and children, and many sectors that we can talk about. So we need collective action to fight the experience that he has to bear in this area. So once again, I also join the many colleagues and the maker of the statement.
Honorable member, I have to be gender sensitive. So, former regional minister, I'm looking at your back. Honorable member.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. I rise to support the statement by the Chief Whip. Mr. Speaker, we wish him all the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that brief. Honorable Namomo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the statement made by the Honorable Minority Chief Whip. I want to take the opportunity to also add briefly in congratulating the former Member of Parliament, Honorable Dr. Emmanuel Marfo, on his appointment to the Climate Parliament. I served with Honorable Marfo on the Gender Committee and then the Climate Change Caucus. And this appointment comes to encourage all of us here to bring to bear our professionalism to the work that we do on the floor. We've all witnessed how he tackled the issues on climate change with passion. And I vividly delays, in fact, the passage of the EPA bill, the Environmental Protection Bill. He took a non-partisan stand, and he was able to push all of us those on the floor who were playing neutral, to realize we should all put our partisanship aside and look at it with an objective eye. Today, the bill is passed into law, and we appreciate it greatly. Today, his appointment comes to attest to the fact that If you work and serve diligently in this house, the house gives you the platform to be seen globally, and then also your work will be recognized. And today, we are all witnesses to what has happened to him. This afternoon, I can only add my voice to hope to be somewhere, from this house, that there's life after this house. So whatever we do here, we should take cognizance of the fact that we will be needed our counts, and we should take it seriously. Thank you very much, and congratulations to him once again.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Let me recognize the Honorable Etiwa West.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. I rise to support the statement by the Minority Chief Whip and the contributions from my colleagues. Mr. Speaker, issues of climate change, energy, former member of the House, has been given this mandate to lead the charge for the African sub-regions on the climate emergency. This should also remind us as a House to prioritize climate issues to help prevent the destruction of livelihood in the near future.
Yeah. Thank you, Honorable Member, for Etiwa West.
Prof. I'm the first person to speak from the committee with Dr. Marfo. We also work together in the leadership of the committee, first as a deputy ranking and subsequently as a chair of the committee, who transcended political boundaries. He recognized capacity, he recognized resource, and so he gave level ground to all of us to work in the committee. Dr. Marfo is able to achieve this feat. We worked together to get the Environmental Protection Bill passed. As a committee, Dr. Marfo was also very instrumental in ensuring that we form climate parliament in Ghana, in the Parliament of Ghana. And so he subsequently worked very hard to ensure that we got that particular caucus inaugurated. So I have no doubt of Dr. Marfo's capacity to be able to work in a committee. We can only wish him well, and we have no doubt that he will make Ghana to shine for the rest of the world. Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when I was coming to the Parliament of Ghana in 2021, I had no idea that I'll be inundated by the tidal waves that hit my community. I joined caucus because of on the internet, opportunity to travel with Dr. Marfo to those platforms. It was a pleasure and a joy to see our brother speak on this matter of climate change, and you felt proud as a Ghanaian. His leadership style is one that embraces both I've had opportunity to speak to him about family life. I'm his big sister, and I've shared a lot of experiences with him on how to raise his children, marry both what we do inside Parliament and what our private lives are, because it's the totality of the human being that we are talking about. Dr. Marfo exemplifies that, and I think that his leadership style is worthy of emulation. Today, I join all our members of Parliament who have spoken highly about Dr. Emmanuel Marfo to say that, indeed, here is a great man who is being celebrated in his lifetime for his work that he's done for our country, and now he has the opportunity to shine even brighter on the global stage and make Ghana great and proud. I thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Speaker, and may we all learn from his example. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member for Ketu South. Honourable Dako, I saw you on your feet. Let me hear you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to commend the Minority Chief Whip and also join teaming member of the House who have spoke in high esteem of our senior, our doctor, our lecturer, Dr. Emmanuel Marfo. The Speaker, having worked with NADMO and having attended several climate change programs, Speaker, we made reference to today. I am not surprised that he has attained that height he has attained. The Speaker, the elevation of Dr. Marfo both political divides need to securing funds for research that had to do with promoting climate change and its consequences. The Speaker, we can make reference to the National Climate Change Policy document. The Speaker, when this document was passed, major among the challenges that confronted this document and its implementation was funding. The Speaker, it is important that as a House, we together look at how we can secure dedicated funding to issues of climate change and also encourage investors to also look into funding and supporting climate change issues. The Speaker, the next issue should be the political will. The Speaker, as many as we spoke, had to talk about challenges, effects, consequences in the House, to look at the heights Dr. Marfo has attained, to encourage all of us to be interested in supporting bills and other things that have to do with climate change. With these few words, Mr. Speaker, I want to congratulate once again Dr. Marfo for attaining this height. Thank you.
Honorable Member, Honorable Ebenezer Oklite Telabi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for the opportunity to hear the party chairperson for Forikrum, and I was a candidate for the NDC. And in fact, Mr. Speaker, the interesting thing is that anytime we met, we never discussed anything politics. It was all about science, technology, innovation, and climate change. And therefore, I don't know, by an act of God, I came here a year before him, but we ended up being on the same committee, and that chemistry continued. And if you look at what happened in our committee, you realize that there was that harmony because we understood each other. We knew what we're all about. I am not surprised about this appointment because I know what Marfo is made up of and what he believes in. But my worry, Mr. Speaker, is that today, issues of climate and climate change, climate funding is so green. We need people with such expertise to guide policy and to help in unlocking, the various funds to support in mitigating the not. Mr. Speaker, this will go to all of us. If indeed we recognize the such, people, so that at least Dr. Marfo is young and he has more years ahead. And I believe that if the NPP party had protected him and given him that opportunity, he would have helped a lot in shaping policy insofar as climate issues are concerned in the House. Unfortunately, we lost him. And I shudder to, would be directed towards the benefit too much from his exploits. Like when he remains in Parliament. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I believe in democracy. We must give everybody opportunity. But then, Mr. Speaker, when we have people with special expertise, especially like climate change experts, we should encourage our various parties to protect such persons so that we make maximum use of them. On that note, Mr. Speaker, I congratulate my colleague and I pray that a good Lord guide him wherever he finds himself. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable former Regional Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity to support the statement made by the Chief Whip of our side in congratulating the good work and the elevation of Dr. Emmanuel Marfo. Mr. Speaker, I had known Dr. Marfo when he was the chairman for the Procedural constituency because his predecessor was a very good friend of mine. Secondly, I'd also known Dr. Marfo at KNUST, where I was a student, and then Dr. Labi, Labi was also there. Currently, we are neighbors, but next door neighbors. So we are happy that a student of KNUST, Speaker, Dr. Marfo is one person that was very strong with his thoughts, and even on our own platform in pushing any agenda that he believed was right and good for the good people of this country. Mr. Speaker, Dr. Marfo was also the chairman for the Parliamentary Climate Caucus, of which I was a member, and always believed that the sort of thing that Dr. Marfo did in supporting Ghana in our thinking about climate action, including resilience, were a key component of keeping our country and biodiversity up to this day. It is therefore my wish and hope that as he set foot into the world of work with the West and Central Africa Program of Climate Parliament, key issues like local ownership of the ideas of climate action so that we own it instead of just being a policy at the top without going down, and we keep talking about them year in, year out without the real actions on the ground. Mr. Speaker, I also do believe that all the books and textbooks and all the projects and the theses we've written in the universities, there should be local solutions and local technologies to solve a lot of these problems. If we're able to get this ownership and the effect, instead of looking at the pre-effect of a lot of the things that we've been talking about in this country. With these few words, our ranks as Parliament would also be elevated in our area of work and profession. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Thank you. Let me take Honorable Bajra, then I'll come to the leadership of the House.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also want to add my voice to the colleagues who have already eulogized our brother, Dr. Emmanuel Marfo, former Member of Parliament for Procedural. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Dr. Emmanuel Marfo, he met us in this House, and he has created himself very well, as not only as a scientist, but also as a politician. Mr. Speaker, we know he cut across both houses. He's somebody who you can approach. When there are issues in this House, we all know, you approach him and say, well, you are in the minority, we are in the majority. Please, let's work together and let's have consensus. Let tempers cool down and let us work with consensus. Mr. Speaker, I've been in two committees, two associations with him, GOPAC and APNAC, African Parliamentarians Network Against Corruption. And I've traveled with him around the world, as well as GOPAC. And Mr. Speaker, I can tell you that he has depth and knowledge in this very area of climate change. And how are you doing, my brother? So I've moved on. And I said, what is in pipeline? And I said, he's been made the director for West Africa and East Africa for Climate Parliament. And I was saying, and I told myself that this is a good step for I don't know when you step out of this House. Prepare yourself for the future. it is possible that you spend only one term in this house, but if you spend your lifetime here or one term here and you carry yourself very well and you study studiously, you find yourself not only on a local stage, but in the international stage as well. For Mr. Marfo, he's moved on. He's no longer a member of parliament, but he has moved on to exhibit that which he has learned from this house as a politician and a scientist, and so profession. And so that when you are no longer a member of parliament, you can also find yourself on another platform where you can exhibit your profession and politics. With this few words, Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Emmanuel Bajira.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Are you speaking for the leadership?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker, I first of all want to congratulate you, President Ayafo, Honorable Bernard Ayafo. Mr. Speaker, this is because of your current elevation and the fact that you are a Jolalian and you were once my classmate. I feel very humbled by that. Mr. Speaker, besides that, I want to also talk about Dr. Marfo. Mr. Speaker, this is because he's shown a lot of alacrity and he's moved to a position that one has to commend him. Mr. Speaker, this is because for some of us who are new here, we are emboldened by the fact that we can come, learn, and learn properly, and aspire to be somewhere. The position would also concentrate on blue economy, where we have a lot of issues we are dealing with, especially in Ghana, where we are overwhelmed with filth and squalor. Mr. Speaker, I believe that he's going to concentrate. All will go well with him. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honorable Minority Leader, before giving you the floor, let me state that you would always have your pride of place in this august house as the Minority Leader, to have a very healthy debate in this particular house, counting on your support.
We shall remain friends and brothers till casket. I'm happy, Mr. Speaker. I know that sometimes we all sleep, but it's okay. We are in this together. Mr. Speaker, thank you for those kind words, and in that same spirit, I want to assure my friends who are in government that we know the support we had from you when we were in government. We are not going to obstruct government business. There are fundamental and ideological disagreements. We'll keep friendship, but make our case and keep your feet to the fire without prejudice. And we will do so in utmost respect to all of you in this chamber, most of the dividers. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to share a statement made by Mr. Speaker. This man being celebrated today is personally known to me. We were in the 8th Parliament together, and 2 years ago, in a conversation, he indicated that he will be starting a new life, meaning he had planned his life, and I asked why he didn't contest again. He said, having looked at the options, he felt that he could move on and make a contribution. So, Speaker, he and I disagreed on a number of occasions. Next day, he would come to my office and say, leader, and I said, nah, in other words, leader, it wasn't the case that I was the environmental protection bill, where we were trying some, as you know, Mr. Speaker, some chamber engineering. and he came out strongly. He acknowledged that, and we settled our matter at the holding room behind us. So, Speaker, a lot of times parliamentarians create the impression that there's no life after Parliament. And this is where I want to spend a bit of time to make some few points. And particularly to our fresh entrants, our colleagues who have just joined us. You may be coming from your different professions. I want to tell you that don't abandon your profession. Way back 2013, when we were here, Right Honorable Doa Jaho encouraged those of us with our professions, particularly those of us who practice in a court, to try and practice. And that we did. I would encourage those of you who are teachers to continue to find space to teach. Those who belong to other professions, explore. And then back again to Parliament. This chamber, the debates, the advocacy on this floor, or let me say less than 10% of our work. Your real advocacy is at the committee level. How you distinguish yourself outside of this floor. And if you get the opportunity to travel on any parliamentary delegation, your duty as a parliamentarian is to make your name, because Ghana is an example. Parliamentarians from Ghana are so respected. So, honorable colleagues, I am urging you, take every advantage of this parliament. Don't be too worried if you don't get the opportunity to clear your throat on the floor. People may be intimidating you. Your majority chief whip, who is very calm these few days, if you see his advocacy in opposition, and Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim, these are strong voices that if you are not careful, you may be intimidated. Or the way they get up and come out strongly, you may say, hey, for me, how can I make it? Even if you don't get the opportunity, Amen, please know that there is an opportunity for you after Parliament. So build your career, build your CVs, and I know that very soon, but we'll be celebrating. And colleagues, let us compliment each other. Once upon a time, a respected colleague who is no more with us, Honorable Kennedy Japan, there came a time where we were opposing government policy in this floor. We were then in opposition. The MPP was in minority. We saw him walk in stand. He said, Mr. Speaker, this is not about NDC or MPP. It's about systems and policies. Mr. Speaker, I rest my case on this note. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minority Leader. Honorable Deputy Whip.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, this being the very first time you've taken the high chair to preside over this House, Mr. Speaker, I want to join my other colleagues to congratulate you on your ascension to that high position. Mr. Speaker, as if by coincidence, anyway, this may be social comparative advantage because your constituency happened to produce a first deputy speaker in this House, which paved the way for us to go into by-election and to bring you. And today, you have succeeded your predecessor, not only as MP for that very constituency, but to the high office of a first deputy speaker in this august House. Mr. Speaker, based on that, together with my colleagues, we are all commending you. Mr. Speaker, but you have a function. Your predecessor encouraged and advised the minority leader, and he's here. May you continue to encourage him. Mr. Speaker, on the occasion of the statement that was made by the Honorable Minority Chief Whip, Mr. Speaker, I've listened to the various comments by colleagues. And Mr. Speaker, I want to join them to commend Dr. Marfo. In fact, one day I was with him in Geneva, and the Right Honorable Speaker, Bagwin, called me and said, Ahmed, have you seen Dr. Marfo? He is super. He has made Ghana proud, and I'm going to encourage him. I'm going to support him. So, Mr. Speaker, in any of the international conferences of IPU, Dr. Marfo was supported to be there by the Right Honorable Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, when he is chairing the Climate Committee as chairman, Mr. Speaker, you'll be proud that he's a Ghanaian. So I'm not surprised. He is not there by default. He's not there by coincidence. But I used to talk to him as a whip. I also used to encourage him. He told me, after Parliament, I want to form a climate something. So I'm not surprised today he's there. And Mr. Speaker, the framers of our Constitution were very apt when they brought Article 103 Clause 5, that the composition of committees of Parliament shall reflect the different shades of opinion. Members must take a cue from this. If you are a lawyer, when we are forming the Judiciary Committee, you hardly find lawyers to apply for that committee. Mr. Speaker, and in the fifth, Mr. Speaker, and this is a house.
Honorable Deputy Whip, Honorable Boma, are you on point of order?
Rightly so, Mr. Speaker.
Order what?
Mr. Speaker, under the inherent powers of the standing orders, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's not entirely right that lawyers do not want to be part of the Judiciary Committee. He knows that the Judiciary Committee is a one-item committee. Mr. Speaker, you know that for sure, that the Judiciary Committee, of which you've been a member, is just a one-item committee. After
Honorable Deputy Whip.
I'm coming. Mr. Speaker,
Honorable
Mr. Speaker, I'm a whip. Just to corroborate what he's saying. The truth is that many lawyers in the House don't like to serve on the Judiciary Committee, and that is a fact. We are about to set up committees again. I don't know. Maybe they know the law already or something like that. So they don't like serving on the Judiciary Committee. So we are encouraging majority of the lawyers in this House will be on the Judiciary Committee.
Raising an objection, he stated that after consideration of the budget of the judiciary, what else? Honourable members, I believe it's the duty of the whip to look at the background of members and decide which committee they should belong.
The lawyers don't want to serve of Parliament. I said very often the lawyers are not many. So when you do the distribution between subsidiary legislation and then Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee, you often don't have many to spare to deal with Judiciary Committee. So it is not the case that the lawyers don't want. Lawyers are not judges. So you cannot say that because we are lawyers, we should be interested in serving on the Judiciary Committee. And in a court, there is the judge. But there is the accused, and then there is the defendant, and then there is the applicant. These are all parties that should be serving in the Judiciary Committee. there are parties that should be interested in the Judiciary Committee. So it doesn't have to be the lawyers alone, but the accused persons, and there are many accused persons sitting here, and then the litigants and registrars. So all those people are interested in the Judiciary Committee.
Honourable Member, myself, I was Vice Chairman of the Judiciary Committee at the 6th Parliament as a lawyer. So that should attest to the fact that lawyers have been serving as a judiciary in the Judiciary Committee. I know Honorable Roxanne also served on the Judiciary Committee, so lawyers have been serving on the Judiciary Committee of Parliament. Sosu is a lawyer, also served the Judiciary Committee, and it is also true that lawyers are not many. The rule is that
Speaker, for the sake of my friends.
Mr. Speaker, I mean on lawyers, they do the distribution of the Judicial Committee. I'm not a lawyer. Though I have LLB, I advise them, put me to a committee of which my expertise will be used.
Honorable
So, Mr. Speaker,
as a burden lawyer,
the problem comes from leadership.
As a burden lawyer, do you think your expertise best? Let's conclude comment on the statement with all due respect. So, Honorable Deputy Whip.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for that opportunity. But, Mr. Speaker, for the sake of my friends who are lawyers, I believe that aspect where I said lawyers don't want to serve in the Judiciary Committee should be expunged. But, Mr. Speaker, I quoted Article 103.
I also direct as such.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is the very first time that, for 16 years now, who exam organization. I can also mention of the Honorable former Foreign Affairs Minister, Honorable Shalaya Kobuchi. I can mention the Honorable Dr. Mohammed Ibn Chambers. I can mention the Honorable Dr. Hanatete. I can mention Honorable Dr. Kwame Ampofo in the energy sector. They will be in their country to go and do international assignments. So, colleagues, just as you have come, if you are made to go and serve in the committee, go and work diligently. Your talents will sell you. I'm proud of Dr. Marfo, and I believe many lessons can be learned from this. But, Mr. Speaker, to conclude, Dr. Marfo as a person has performed creditably well. He has gained international recognition. But in this, our generation is in the field of environment. We should not only become theoretical environmentalists, we must be practical environmentalists as well. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Thank you. Honourable members, highlighting the good work on the subject matter and the reference. Honourable Dr. Marfo, your good work as a member of Parliament and your interest in climate-related matters is worthy and deserve of emulating. Your contributions to climate change is recognized nationally and internationally. Thank you very much for lifting the image of Ghana very high and making Parliament of Ghana very. Honourable members, statement time is ended. Any indication from the majority leadership?
Mr. Speaker, it was meant to be a short sitting today, and it's past 2 o'clock. Mr. Speaker, if it will please you, I've had some discussions with the minority leader. Some names came out today and were referred to the appointment committee, just as under Order 65(1). Sometimes the President communicates to the House and in some circumstances, the action is taken, and then whenever Parliament is properly constituted, Speaker reads out, the communication comes to, and when we return on a Thursday, then Mr. Speaker can bring that to the attention.
Available leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me corroborate what the Chief Whip said. It's true the acting clerk conferred with the minority leader who asked me to just reiterate that point to you that we'll be expecting a supplementary list from the president on his nomination. We know that list has kept a lot of my colleagues in the chamber, and I believe when the list is submitted to Mr. Speaker, we'll go through the motions, but we'll indulge Mr. Speaker and the President and take it through the Appointments Committee, as said. So just keep your nerves cool. Once the list is submitted, we'll work on it. Thank you.
The proposal is for us to come back on Thursday, but Mr. Speaker, it's not very usual for us to start the week on Thursday. May we, if it pleases the House, can we propose that instead of coming back on the 16th, we come back the Tuesday, the 21st, because our colleagues, the first-term colleagues are supposed to go through some orientation for 4 days. At least it gives them the next weekend to also, he was looking at me, he will say that that was not part of the agreement, but I know he will have some comment to make.
Mr. Speaker, I can see the incoming majority leader and his deputy conferring. And I've just also heard, those of us in opposition, we know more things than those of you in government. So if you ask me, I can tell you, all of you, where you are going. But you don't know. That is how it is. When I know Ama Kofibua is going to land. Kwame Agboja to local government.
Honorable Leader.
Mr. Speaker, has done so well. Yes. I will be surprised if, and Dr. Park is definitely going to education as deputy education minister. Mr. Speaker, we know. That's why I know Honorable Ayariga is going to assume the black chair. And his deputy is my good friend, Kweku Rickett. Because, yes, Kweku is going to be the deputy minority leader. And, Mr. Speaker, once again, majority of them will remain at the back bench.
Honorable Minority Leader.
Anyway, Mr. Speaker.
The issue before the House is whether the adjournment should be on the 16th or 21st.
That is so.
With all due respect.
Mr. Speaker, my good friend, Honorable Agboja, he knows the practice of the House. You can't just come to the floor to make an announcement. You know it. You normally engage. Now you see, Agboja, you see. Mr. Speaker, Agboja today is begging me. Mr. Speaker, Agboja is begging. Mr. Speaker, the film about the incoming chief whip. You see, you are coming. We know you are coming. Mr. Speaker, Kwame is begging me. What he did to me when I was there, Agboja Panye. Mr. Speaker, time changes. I won't do that to him because I know 2020 now I will be there. So, Mr. Speaker, I will be magnanimous. I will oblige him. Though he didn't consult me, I will oblige him.
Honorable Minority Leader, did I hear you say 2039?
No, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I said 2029. I didn't say 39, 29.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker, so Kwame has been my good friend. He did many things to me. I will not repeat. You know, to forgive is divine. So even though he did not consult this side of the house, you are begging. Today you are doing this. Mr. Speaker, I know he's anxious for his appointment. He's worked so hard for it. He deserves it. And I will not stand in his way. Mr. Speaker, I oblige him. Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you. Since the will of the House is to adjourn it to Tuesday, 21st, we shall do Tuesday, 21st. Around members, is 21st not Tuesday? Instead of 16th, instead of Thursday, 16th, the will of the House is that it be adjourned to Tuesday.
Just for emphasis, my respected colleague, Honorable Patrick Yabuama, Member of Parliament for Okaikwe Central, a respected lawyer and a 4-term Member of Parliament of this House. Mr. Speaker, he had earlier submitted that in the spirit of cooperation and the need to assist the government to get into motion as quickly as possible, whilst we adjourn all nominations that would come by way of correspondence, be as to the appointment committee for us to continue the work on them. Mr. Speaker, if I may invoke Order 3, Mr. Speaker, I will ground my application under Order 3 of the rules of the House, so that read Order 3, and for the benefit of our young ones, Order 3.1 provides, quote, that they move without notice with the leave of the House. So basically what I was just trying to put across was that per our rules, when there's communication, and that's why we have it on our order paper, it must be read. On this occasion, it's not in session. So we're praying that the rule be suspended to allow Mr. Speaker to proceed to refer, as though same is regular. Things of the House allows us to come under Order 3 to achieve the same effect. So, Mr. Speaker, having said so, I move that the said expected referrals be considered and deemed as having been so done properly at plenary, so that the appointment committee can proceed to do the vetting. I add this to regularize the earlier point made by my respected colleague. If the House so pleases.
Candidate. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The Speaker of Parliament will act accordingly. Thank you, Honorable, to thank the entire House for the confidence reposed in me in electing me as the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament. I promise to work with you very diligently and reliably with your support. I am forever grateful. All my friends, the entire House, will forever be remembered. So, Muntala Mohammed, don't worry. You are in my mind. Roxanne Dafamako, I'm all for you. Thank you. The House is accordingly adjourned till Tuesday, the 21st day of January 2025.
First, I'm happy.
I wanted this question.